Hi everyone, happy September. I honestly can't believe it's September. It just seems like, I don't know if the year has gone by quickly or slowly, but it's just been kind of weird. Like even August was, believable to me, but every time I went to write down a list for my September TBR, which is coincidentally what I'm going to be doing today, I kept writing August instead of September. Like I was just going to repeat August because I couldn't believe we're in September yet. So here we are, we're in September, and I have a TBR for you guys. I've been seeing people doing a ton of really fun and creative games in order to pick their TBRs, and I am not going to be doing that today, even though I kind of really want to, because I haven't had a good idea yet for what I want to do. So comment down below if you have any suggestions for fun TBR games that I could do. I could just roll dice or something like that. I'm pretty sure I have dice and one of these games back here. But for now, honestly, this is mostly a lot of continuations, either things I didn't get to last month or just series I want to continue. So it's going to be a pretty straightforward TBR this month, I think. So first of all, I am perpetually behind on my Cosmere reread project. I decided I wanted to reread every single book in Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere by the time Rhythm of War comes out, and for some reason, I just have been super slow about it. I'm making progress. I read Mistborn number 2 last month, but I meant to read 3 Cosmere books last month, and I only read 1, and it's not that I haven't been enjoying them. I've actually enjoyed every single reread that I've done. I think my main problem is that I get a lot of ebooks out from the library, but I'm reading most of these Sanderson books physically. So what happens is that a book I'm excited about will come and I'll have it on my phone and I'll know I need to read it in a certain amount of time before I need to return it. So I just keep prioritizing my ebooks over my physical books. So I'm going to try to be a little more disciplined. I know you guys are probably thinking this whole project, it's completely my idea anyway, and I'm the only one that's doing it, and I'm making myself do it, but I actually really do want to do it. That's why I'm still going. So I'm just gonna keep giving myself increasingly challenging amounts of books to read every month, and because I know I'm a pretty fast reader when I decide to buckle down, so I know I can still do this by November. It's just probably going to look a little bit sillier every month. Also, my husband and one of our friends are also kind of doing this with me, even though I said I'm doing it alone, I guess. Because they're not on BookTube or anything, but they are watching me, and I think they're both ahead of me right now, and I'm technically the fastest reader. In terms of how fast I could read an individual book, and they've been listening to a lot of audiobooks as well, and they're both ahead of me. My husband is almost done with Words of Radiance on audiobook, and he's reading Mistborn right now physically, so I really need to keep up with these guys. So anyway, last month I read Well of Ascension, which is Mistborn 2. So honestly, I'm just going to keep shuffling my Cosmere TBR every month till I actually get through it. So this month, ideally, I think in order to finish this in a not totally crazy way, I should read at least The Hero of Ages, which is Mistborn 3. I have Warbreaker, and honestly, I need to start Stormlight. That's upside down. So here we have The Way of Kings. I've complained before, I don't know why, I didn't own a physical copy of this before because I had it on Kindle and I wanted a physical copy, so I got this mass market paperback, which is the fattest thing I've ever seen, so I hope that won't be too uncomfortable a reading experience. And see, these books are trying to escape from me. They're sliding right off my lap, so I better get rid of them. So maybe I'll actually meet my Cosmere goals this month. I just need to sort of restrain myself when it comes to adding unplanned things to my TBR and, not just reading ebooks from the library. If it seems like I'm being unnecessarily strict with myself, you guys should just know I'm a person that thrives from organization and self-imposed structure, and this is how I make myself happy, even if it doesn't always seem like it. So, it's okay. You don't need to comment telling me you don't need to do it. I do. I'm gonna do it. So I actually have 3 books that I am kind of currently reading now on September 1st that were all from my TBR last month. I'm not super far in them, so I'll probably finish them up pretty quickly, but I'll just mention them as part of what I'm reading this month because I'm not close enough to finishing that I can sort of just shuffle them in with August. The first one that I'm in the middle of and have been for some time is this nonfiction book. It's All Relative by A.J. Jacobs. As I predicted, it is a very sort of light journalistic nonfiction read. It's basically the author's exploration of both his own family and just like genealogy and how everyone is related and connected. It's a perfectly nice book. It's relatively entertaining, but I mean, it's just not that great, I think. I would sort of describe my interest in genetics and genealogy to like low to moderate, and I feel like I already knew most of the stuff he's talking about, and I guess I should talk about this maybe more in my August wrap up, but there's really no reason not to finish this because I think it'll be pretty quick. But yeah, so I'll finish this one up as quickly as I can. There are 2 books that I'm reading on ebook right now that I'm in progress with. The first one that I started, which was actually from a while ago, is A Declaration of the Rights of Magicians by H.G. Perry. This was one I wasn't sure if I was going to like, but it seemed like the kind of thing that I would enjoy. And overall, I think I'm about a third to a half of the way through. I am really enjoying it. It's a very historical, political fantasy that has some magic thrown in there, but that's very much based on real world figures and events from history. I was enjoying it, but I let it expire from the library because I got kind of more excited by other things, and now I'm waiting to get it on ebook again, so that's why I didn't end up finishing that one. It was definitely, like, I overall liked it. I will talk more about it when I finish. The other one that I really can't say much about is Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. This is a book I'm still super excited to read. I only just started it at the end of the month, and I've barely started it, so it looks really promising so far, but I'll just wait to talk about it until I have a little more to say. I have a couple more things that I just didn't get to last month that I still would really like to read. The first one is the second book in the Encrypted series by Seanan McGuire, which is Midnight Blue Light Special. Again, I really enjoyed the first book in the Encrypted series. It's a series I want to keep reading. Unfortunately, I was able to renew the ebook from the library after I checked it out, so I ended up just getting distracted by other things as well, but I'm hoping to get to this one pretty soon. I actually have book 3 checked out from the library as well. I'm not going to be so ambitious as to put both books 2 and 3 on my TBR for this month because I think that way lies madness, but I think this is going to be a really fun read. Again, I think I just didn't get to this because I own it. It's Ancillary Mercy by Anne Leckie. This is the 3rd book in a science fiction trilogy, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how she wraps up the series. Her world building is very immersive, and her books tend to be pretty dense, and I will definitely need to read this at a point where I really have some focus and can pay attention, but still she does a lot of really cool things. I think she's a fantastic writer. I really enjoyed her fantasy book, The Raven Tower, which I reviewed last month. That was the one that I read twice because I didn't like it the first time and then thought it was awesome. And right now I'm trying to convince my husband to listen to that on audiobook next because he just got used to second person from reading Harrow the Ninth. So I think now would be a good time for him to do The Raven Tower. So this is me talking about, the TBR that I'm assigning to my husband, I guess, instead of my TBR. But I am planning to read this month. Hopefully I'll get to it. Also, I still do want to read Hamlet. I didn't really make time for it. I don't know what kind of mood I'm gonna have to be in to sit myself down. I should probably find like a movie version to watch as well or something like that. But just because, Shakespeare is better seen than read, honestly. But reading does help you appreciate it when you do see it live or on film. So, kind of goes both ways. So this might end up being a pretty short TBR video because I feel like I'm just talking about all the stuff I didn't read last month. But there are a couple of sequels that I'm planning to read this month as well. I, in the end, quite enjoyed Malice by John Gwynne. You can check out my review, but I would like to read Valor, which is book 2 in that series, The Faithful and the Fallen, this month. I also read The Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyons last month, and although I had kind of a mixed reaction to it, I do have book 2 here, The Name of All Things. Yes, that's what it's called. I think the 3rd book is actually coming out this month as well. Or maybe it came out in August. She's been releasing them like every 6 months. So I had kind of a mixed reaction to book 1, but I was sort of intrigued and compelled by it enough that I want to at least see how I feel about book 2. If I'm still feeling kind of sort of that mixed, confused reaction to book 2, I don't know if I'll continue on with the series, but I'm kind of hoping that book 2 will be the book that sells me on the series, because it's supposed to be a 5-book series, and I hope it'll be great. So I know this has been kind of a short video because I think mostly I talked about stuff I've already talked about before. I just hadn't gotten around to reading. But I think it's actually kind of a lengthy TBR, especially because I've started putting in some Stormlight Archive books. So if I still don't get through all this stuff this month, I promise I won't just recycle it for October. I'll switch things up a little bit. But hopefully I'll be able to get through all this stuff. And, we'll see how much reading I get done as we get back into the swing of things this year. I feel like my schedule has just been so weird over the summer. There are times, or even there's like weeks I read a ton, and then there are weeks I don't read so much. That's actually kind of typical for me. I guess I tend to sort of binge read and then need a day or two to cool off. But overall, hopefully I can get through all these books. Please let me know if you have any ideas for fun TBR games. I guess this month, probably since I have so many sequels and continuations and carryovers, I don't know if a game really would have been that great, but I want to have some sort of fun, randomized way to pick what I'm going to read in October, and I need to start thinking about it now so I can come up with a really cool video for next month. So let me know if you have any ideas for that. Let me know if you've read any of these books or what you're most excited to hear me talk about. And thanks for watching.